Hi, good evening everyone. Today is the day 47 of Gear Up Mains Answer Writing. In this week we are doing internal security questions. Okay, let's see what's the question for today. For today, the question is analyze the multi-dimensional challenge. Analyze the multi-dimensional challenge posed by the external state and non-state actors. The first demand of the question is we need to know what is the external state actors and what is the non-state actors to the internal security of India. Also discuss measures required to be taken to combat the threat of internal security and the states and the non-state actors. So the question is simple, it's demanding only the two things. One, analyze the multi-dimensional challenge by states and the non-state actors. Second, the policy required for it, the measures required for it. So the body part, we will be dividing the body parts specifically in two subparts. One is the challenge by state actors and the non-state actors. Second, the measures required. Second is the measures required and the required to be taken to combat these threats. So this is the question 2 demands. In the introduction we will write about state actors and the non-state actors. Simply we will define what are the state actors and what are the non-state actors. So state actors are those in which the foreign nationals are involved, the foreign country are involved in the terrorism. In the India case, we can say that China and the Pakistans are the state actors which involved for the terrorism in the country. And the non-state actors are those actors which are indirectly run by these state actors. Now, you can give the example of left-wing extremism in India. You can also write about the funding by the NGO which are used for the terrorism in the country. These are the non-state actors. So in the introduction itself, you will define what is the state actors and what is the non-state actors. You can write the example of China and Pakistan, and in the non-state actors you can give the example of left-wing extremism as well as the funding by the NGO which are used for the terrorism purpose. So these are the examples of states and the non-state actors. Because the question is first is saying what is the external state actors and what is the non-state actors. So we should know first what is the external state actors and what is the non-state actors. Okay. Now in the body part we will write about the challenge by state actors, challenge by non-state actors, and finally we will write about measure required, what can be done to control on these state and the non-state actors. Okay, now let's come to the challenges. In the case of the challenge, first we will start with the external state actors. External state actors are the China in India case and the Pakistan. We are considering China and Pakistan as a external state actors. What is the issue with the China? China support the extremists in the northeast area. Even in the present condition in the Manipur, the sum of the funding by the China to those extremists, those one is a group in Assam, ULFA, which is sponsored by the China for spreading the terrorism, spreading the security lapses specifically in the northeast region. So the China support the extremists in the northeast and they always want let's the northeast of India burn. And they are supporting the terrorism which is a major issue of the instability in northeast India. So it support the extremists in the northeast, specifically the unliberated front of Assam is the example where they are sponsoring it. Alliance of opportunity. In this heading, the alliance of opportunity, the China seek a specific alliance with specific opportunity. They are tying up with these organizations which running up in northeast India. They are tying with the cultural tie philosophical, and the political as well. With these actors, they are tying up and looking as an opportunity, as an alliance. They want something, we will give you this thing, you will provide us the instability in this region. So alliance of opportunity by the Chinese government in specifically into the Northeast India, and they're sponsoring the terror region. So this is a challenge posed by the external state actors in case of China. Cyber attacks. Nowadays, the cyber attacks is a major attacks than any defense attacks. After the cyber attacks, our whole system, even it's a banking system, even it's a health system, become crippled. We are not able to use our systems after the cyber attacks. In this case, the states are sponsoring for these attacks. Even in the case of the Kurnakulam nuclear power project protest, Kurnakulam nuclear power project protest, the China was involved in it. And in some of the major attack in India, which are related to the cyber attacks, are sponsored by the China or done by China. These are some of the external state actors which related to the China. Now let's come to our beloved friends, Pakistan. Proxy war. Pakistan always involved with India in proxy wars, in siege fire, there is an agreement between the India and Pakistan related to siege fire on the border, but the Pakistan never followed that. In the case of the economic challenge, the fake currency, the circulation of the fake currency by Pakistan in India, which focus on the destabilization of the economic system in the country. The major note ban of the 2016, one of the reason was the fake currency in circulation. So they are affecting the economic factors and the proxy fact wars. In economic factor, they are also sponsoring some of the NGO which use their fund specifically related to the terrorism. In the proxy war, we can say Jamaat-ud-Dawa, Indian Mujahideen, are some of the groups which are sponsored by the Pakistan. So these are the external state actors, external state threats by the China and Pakistan. Now let's come to the non-state actors. What are the non-state actors and how they are affecting the stability in the region, in the country? The drug trafficking, Golden Crescent, and Golden Triangle. Highest producer of opium and heroin, which linked to the Northeast India specifically, in some of the cases related to Pakistan as well. They produce the opium and the heroin, which is used to provide the money, to provide the supply of the guns, the supply of the defense equipments, the high grade equipments, the AK-47. So that drug trafficking, through the drug trafficking, they are getting the equipments of the defense, they are getting the guns, and they are also getting the money by opium and the heroin. And these are completely involved by those state actors which are sponsoring this, even to China, even to Pakistan. So in the case of the drug trafficking, the Golden Crescent, Golden Triangle, the area associated with them are related here, which are which are posing a specific threat to the country, specifically in the Northeast India. NGO used for the anti-national agenda. Recently, guidelines by the Home Ministry to control the funds of the NGO, to deregister the NGO, which are using their funds for the terrorist activity. And these NGO are sponsored by, the funding are sponsored by some of the actors which are resided outside the state. Even it's the funding from the UK, even it's the funding from the China, even the funding from the Pakistan, and some of the actors which are outside the state. So these fundings are used for destabilize the region, destabilize the country in the one way or the another way. left-wing extremism through the CPI. They are sponsored by CPI, some of the non-state actors which are sponsoring the left-wing extremism in the country, in the middle India, in the central India, in the some part of the eastern India, the left-wing extremism sponsors by these non-state actors. Radicalization, in the case of the radicalization, now they are hiring some of the people which are specific and converting them to radical. They are making them radical, and they are factory we started in the Kerala. They are hiring the individuals from the Kerala, specifically by the ISIS. So the radicalization, the communalism, these are the non-state actors. So these are the external non-state actors which affecting the stability in the region. So this is what the demand of the first question, the first part of the question. What are the state actors, what are the effect of the state actors, and what are the non-state actors and the challenge posed by the non-state actors. So in the state actors, we discuss about the China, we discuss about the Pakistan. In the non-state actor, we discuss about the drug trafficking, the NGO, anti-national agenda, left-wing extremism in the central and the eastern India, communalism, and the radicalization of the people, and the hiring so specifically in the ISIS. The some of the examples we can also write here. In the case of the Pakistan, we discuss about the proxy war, and the NGO funding. These are specifically funding the Kudnakulam protest, Kudnakula power plant, Kudnakula protest, the nuclear power plant protest in the Kudnakulam that are sponsored by the NGO fundings. So these are against the nation. So these are some of the states and the non-state actors. Now we need to be move on. Measures required. What can be done? Government क्या कर सकती है? हम क्या कर सकते हैं? What's required? What action we can take to stop these funding from the state actors to the non-state actors? क्या-क्या चीजें की जा सकती है? Specifically in the case, the coordinating institutional framework. There should be a proper framework that should be coordinated by the state governments, central governments, and the district levels. So there is a complete coordination between the agency, so that can be easily controlled. Evidence-based policy making. There should be a different policy making for the different states. For the Northeast India, there should be a different policy on the basis of evidence. For the Central India, for the communalism, for the left-wing extremism, there should be the different policy. Cyber Defense Agency, nowadays, cyber attacks. Nowadays, there is an increase in the number of cyber attacks. So we require a cyber defense agency. We specifically focus on these cyber attacks, and we are also having organization 13 which are looking at it. 13. Computer Emergency Response Force, India. Task Force, India. And there are some of the suggestions by the Meena Chandra Committee and the Madhukar Gupta Committee. In the case of the Meena Chandran Committee, they are suggesting about we should have a cyber response force. And in the case of the Madhukar Gupta Committee, we need a cyber defense cell, the cyber defense agency. So these are some of the smart border management. The Madhukar Gupta Committee are focused on the smart border management. So this committee, Madhukar Gupta, focused on the smart border management, and this Meena Chandra Committee is specifically focused on the cyber management, the cyber attacks. Training of the local police. The training of the local police according to the spreads, according to the level of the extremism, according to the level of the LWE, according to the level of the, like we can say the cyber attacks, according to the level of the different kind of the unstabilization in the Northeast India. So we should train the local police. What's required, what specific training is required for according to that area that's required in the training. Awareness generation among the people. Connectivity. We need to be connected with the people. We need to take the population of that area in confidence that we are doing some great thing. And the one major thing is the development of that area, the connectivity of that area with the other places, the availability increasing in the employment in that area. So we can tackle these kind of things, but we need to be required a framework. We need to be required increased employments, industrializations, we need to be like there should be increase in the infrastructure, there should be the awareness generation, the training of the local police, focus on the committee reports. It's just not we are appointing the committee, but we are not accepting their recommendation. So we should focus on the recommendation as well. There should be a cyber defense agency and the evidence-based policy makings. So these are the measures the government can take. These are the measures the individual can take. These are the measures the individual can help for removing these kind of the non-state actors and the state actors effect which lead to the destabilization in the country. Okay, so these were the question demands. The first demand was the question. So these were the question demand. The first demand is the question was challenges, and the second demands were the measures required. What are the measures required and what are challenges specifically for the non-state actors and the state actors, and what the measures can the government can take. Now we need to conclude the answer. We can write a constructively conclusion here. In India, it's having a porous border with some of the country, having the border with the China, having the border with the Pakistan, having the border with the Bangladesh. So India should focus on their border area, smart border management. India should focus on specifically the golden crescent and the golden triangle, which can avoid the trade of the opium. And we should be focused on the making of some of the policy against the state actors and the non-state actors, and the population should involve in the policy making. So we can conclude very simply, very comprehensively, the conclusion of the answer. Okay, so this was the day 47. We will meet tomorrow again at the 6 p.m. with the new question of the internal security. I hope you are liking this session. Through this session, the one major idea what we want, you learn how to break a question, how to break a question into multiple parts. And if we are breaking the question into multiple parts, it's become easy. What should we write first? What should we write second? At the last, what we can write. And if we are breaking like a challenge posed by state actors, the first headings we break here. The first headings we break here. What is the challenge by state actors? So this was the first heading, state actor. Then the challenge by non-state actor was the second heading. Then the third, measures, is the fourth heading. And in the introduction, we defined the state actors and the non-state actors, and in the conclusion we compiled up and we give some of the suggestion related to it, what the government can do, or we can also write the way forward here. So if we divide the question into the multiple parts, if we dividing like this, what is required in the introduction, what is required in the body part, what is required in the second sub part of the body, then what is required in the conclusion. So it's become easy for us. It's become very easy what to write. There should be a coherence. अगर आप इस तरीके से लिखेंगे questions को, आपको आपके answers में coherence भी दिखेगा. So please try to write. Please try to break the question into the multiple parts. If you are understanding the question very well, then it should be like आपने अपना 30% काम कर लिया. Okay. So we will meet tomorrow again at 6 p.m. with the new question on internal security. Okay.